And I want to thank all the panels, this panel in particular with my counterpart in Massachusetts, Bob Petroselli, that helped to put this together. I thought it was spectacular. I want to make a few comments on this as well as on the previous panel. The last question, or one of the last questions, was kind of interesting about the cost savings. Governor Cuomo, that's Governor Mario Cuomo, used to on a regular basis put in a piece in the budget showing 10% savings for getting rid of the Wicks law. That approach never seemed to work. I'm not sure that approach is going to be the optimum here. I think the approach is going to be to for the industry to get together to come up with a common set of ideas and ideals, as happened in Massachusetts. I was particularly taken by the core values statement from Massachusetts. When we look at the competitive bidding laws and this historical approach that we take in New York State, you know, every court, you know, as they talk about this historically, has said the purpose of the law is not for the convenience of the contractors, designers, owners. The purpose of the competitive bidding laws is to guard against fraud, corruption, favoritism, cronyism, and improvidence or waste of the taxpayer dollar. And so historically, that's been the view. The trick is got to be, as we go forward, how do we make sure that whatever law is put in place holds true to that basic ideal? And so as we look at the idea of alternative delivery, whether it's CM at risk or design build, there are certain things that need to be kept in place and kept in mind in order to do that from our standpoint. First of all is criteria that everyone understands. We personally like the idea of weighted criteria. So everyone knows what the rules are going in when you're making a selection. QBS as one, probably the best mechanism, but you know what the rules are. The selection is made by folks that know something and aren't made by politicians who are subject to issues and problems, particularly at the local government level. And most importantly, there be sunshine on the process. That when the selection is made, that's going to be subject to scrutiny by the public, by an IG, whatever it may be, to make sure that we've properly guarded against those problems historically that created the competitive bidding laws in the first place. There is no question, in our view, that there are improvements to be made. As I go across the country with AGC of America events, I am regularly pointed at and laughed at as being from the most backward state in the nation. And it's extremely true from our standpoint, not just on this law, but on a number of others. One is the scaffold law. We talked this morning about how do we find savings. We figured that every construction project in New York State, it costs you 5% more, simply because of the existence of the scaffold law. Moreover, if you're an owner and you're out looking at the idea of a separate contract for roofing, for example, because of the scaffold law, there's a strong likelihood that those contractors will not have adequate insurance for you. So you need to be careful of those things. So all those things play into the factors that are necessary to modernize our system, modernize our processes to make sure not only are we saving money, but we're also reducing risk as we go forward. A couple other points I want to make. From this morning's first session, which, to be honest with you, was much, I hate to say it this way, much more interesting to me than I thought it was going to be. Certainly the idea of investing in infrastructure as a means to economic growth is certainly something that we support, although I would say strenuously that infrastructure needs to be broadly defined, not just the horizontal, but the vertical, and we need to look at that. The smart growth discussion was also interesting. The Economic Development Council recently came out with an approach or some ideas at re-urbanizing some of the upstate communities, some of the upstate cities. One of the ideas, for example, that we've discussed in AGC is looking at how we're going to support the Economic Development Council in that effort. But one of the ideas, besides improvement of the secret process, is the idea of some credits for vertical brownfields. We talk about the horizontal brownfield credits and tax credits and the like, but we've got a number of industrial buildings in upstate New York that if we were to give some vertical brownfield credit to clean up the asbestos and clean up the lead, we can work to re-urbanize. And so the idea of smart growth is important. Water resources was discussed this morning as well, and that's something that is certainly near and dear to my heart as we look at the importance of economic development, and obviously most importantly we need to get manufacturing back. So every time that Governor Rick Perry comes up from Texas and talks about our taxes, we ought to talk to the Texas owners about their water. Where are you getting your water? We've got a lot of water. We're the Rust Belt for a reason. We need to protect those water resources in whatever way we can and work strenuously to do that. The lean discussion, we're very involved with Lean New York City and Sam, and I want to reiterate what Sam said about the program next week. That we'll talk further about the project that Bill Gilbane was discussing. And there will be more programs throughout the year that we'll be doing together about how to implement lean. And so when we think about how we're going to implement cost savings on projects through CM at risk, for example, or IPD, it's through the lean process and getting rid of the fat and the waste in the system. And I think that as an industry coming together in more collaborative approaches, we're figuring that out. There's a contractor that was once chairman of the AGC of America Building Division, Mike Koenig, who talked about the collabometer. And he would put up a presentation and show the collabometer as it would go across from design, bid, build, all the way to IPD. And the further you get along the spectrum, the more collaboration can take place. And when there's collaboration, you find savings. And one of the terms that he used, and I know some people in the purest IPD or lean processes cringe at it, is IPD-ish or IPD-like. But the idea of that is within a CM at risk methodology, how do you make sure that between the designer and the CM and the owner, as well as major trade contractors, how do you create that IPD and lean approach to find savings? And certainly that's something that's going to be near and dear to us as well. The last thing that I will say is that whenever you look at these ideas, and we've got these great ideas and these great ideals about improving and modernizing the system, that's like a nice, pretty Christmas tree. And then you've got a lot of folks that start putting ornaments on that Christmas tree. And the more parochial those folks are that are putting the ornaments on the tree, the more self-serving as opposed to what's in the public interest. Eventually what we end up with is very, very large ornaments that topple the tree. We saw this this year with the attempt to further the design build. Hopefully that's is something we'll avoid going forward. But we need to avoid the big ornaments. We need to look at what's in the public interest first and foremost. Obviously, as we look at some of our parochial interests, they are rooted in public interest. But to the degree possible, we need to make sure we protect that, but most importantly, what's in the public interest, and avoid the big ornaments that are going to topple the tree. So with that, I've spoken enough. We're beyond time. But we look forward to further discussions. And I want to thank very much Terry Matthews, who spearheaded sometimes in enduring a great deal of pain in putting this together. She's done it a number of times before. And I want to again thank the panels because I thought they did a tremendous job. And my counterpart again, Bob from Massachusetts, and the whole Massachusetts group, thank you again very, very much.